I'm here with John of Incantation. He's participating in one of the panels at Inferno, so I'm actually hosting his panel. We're going to be talking about touring in North America, across the Americas, I should say. But we're not here today to talk just about that. We're here to talk a little bit about everything, because you just finished a tour with Belphegor. You guys just announced one with Hatebreed. So there's a lot to talk about. But before we talk about those tours, how's Oslo been treating you?
So far, so good. Yeah, it's been cool. I mean, yeah, I basically got here, Monday like afternoon we got here, and we just been kind of, chilling out, trying to, get on the schedule or whatever. And I mean, besides losing my guitar, or not losing my guitar, but my guitar not showing up at the airport, getting it a day late, everything's been pretty smooth, And yeah, I mean, Oslo's a nice city, and we have so many friends here that it's just like been a great day to see everybody,
You got a busy schedule. You're going to be on a panel. You guys have the drum clinic as well. You're obviously playing. So how do you manage so many things happening in such a short period of time?
You just do it. You just make it happen. It's part of the way things go. I mean, being in a band, there's always so much to do. I mean, you have the show to play, you have to prepare for the show, but then, yeah, you got the panels, we have other promo stuff, we have interviews like this to do, but you just, if it's like, we get these cool opportunities, you want to take advantage of it and just enjoy them, and just go with the flow kind of thing, it's better to be too busy and not busy enough, we'll say,
That's good. That means there's a demand.
Yeah, so I basically, let's just say, I appreciate, the opportunities that I do get to do these interviews or do whatever it is, do the panel, play the show. So it's like, even if it's a lot of work, it's like, it's a pleasure to do, because it's, it's something I love doing. I love playing music. I love talking about metal. And so it's all fun. It's all like stuff I like. If it was all like real work, then it would suck really bad, because I'd be way too busy doing stuff that I hate.
So let me ask you about this. The tour with Belphegor was, you guys had an amazing run on that tour. And
fun,
during that tour, you started doing the food drive, which was, I feel like it was a little bit, you caught lightning in a bottle. Because everybody started talking about it.
Yes.
I mean, not everybody had all the facts.
Yeah,
let's put it
crazy.
that way. But I feel like you created a viral moment without even knowing that you were creating a viral moment. Do you realize that you went viral with that whole thing?
It was insane. Yeah, it went viral. I didn't really realize that it went viral until I just started getting messages from people and just seeing all these news sites and stuff just posting all the stuff, and it was totally crazy, because it's like, I would say more than half of the news sites got the situation totally wrong, and stuff. So it was just kind of funny. Like, I'm reading it like, wow, these people, they have no clue. Like, they just ran with the ball, or we'll say there's a lot of
Filling in the gaps?
Yeah, it's almost like they're just using AI to find out, how do we take this story and make it go viral? So they just pick and choose what they want to say, and they don't really make it clear. I mean, there was one news article where they had Max Cavalera pictured as me.
I saw that.
And I'm just like, come on. It's like, if you don't know who Max Cavalera is, I mean, you don't have to know who I am, but you would know that Max Cavalera doesn't play an Incantation. I mean, hey, it would be great. I'd love for him to be in the band. But the reality is he doesn't, and you should know that. And it's like, if you don't know that, you shouldn't be doing a news site. But then I checked the same site, and they had Moises from Christian as Glenn Benton. So I was just like, okay.
Maybe this is their shtick.
Yeah, maybe it's something that it's maybe their way of getting their stuff to go viral, because people see it and they oh, this is just stupid, So, but then they talk about it, because these days it's more about trying to go viral than getting out the accurate information. But just so it's super clear, is that, yeah, we had some issues on tour with, hospitality or whatever. I don't want to get into it too much, but the important part is that after getting so much feedback because we were getting people like contacting us thinking that we like were starving on tour and we need all this help with food or financial help or whatever, and I was like, it's not that was the internet viral glamorized version of what was happening. I wanted to make sure that it was known, that we just wanted to make it known that it was important. I think it's important that the venues, should be, do a minimum to, show the band hospitality. You don't have to go crazy, but like it shouldn't be an issue getting water at the shows. It shouldn't be an issue getting, say, some stage towels or something. But we were getting charged for these extra things on tour, and I got upset about it because we were already on a really tight budget on tour, and it's like, there's a difference between, being compassionate and like giving some people basics. And water is not a lot to ask for. If you can't,
You're not asking for sushi platters.
no, not even like bottles of alcohol or anything. It was just like water, maybe a few snacks or some like a little coffee station or something like that. And but I didn't realize that. I guess things have been gotten so tight in the U.S. with clubs and stuff like that they're cutting back even on some of the things that I guess I took for granted in the past. So I got a little bit, I got a little bent out of shape, and I made a post about it. And I kind of joked about doing a food drive to get us food or whatever for shows, but it was really a joke. I mean, if you listen to it, I even said that it's like kind of joking or whatever. It's just my my kind of sarcasm to the situation, because it was so ridiculous that like we played a show and I can't even get like a bottle of water afterwards. I'm just like, am I like living on a funny farm or something, But anyway, so people started contacting us about it, and I said, well, you know what? Because I remember the moment where I really realized it's crazy, because our guitar player Luke said like, this guy wants to like, I don't know if he wanted to take us out. I can't remember what it was actually, but it was just like I could tell Luke felt really uncomfortable, like people offering to like, give us food or whatever. And he was talking to me about it, and I was like, yeah, it's really getting crazy now. It's like night. I mean, some people bring food for bands anyway, but it's not like we're not like begging for food or anything. So I realized. Then I talked to a couple of my other friends about the situation, and just the idea came up of doing a food drive, for the local food shelters. It's like, we don't really need the food. It was more a band to venue kind of issue that I had at the moment, but I wanted to take that situation and turn it around into something positive, and we did doing the food drive, and it's really cool because we ended up getting hooked up with Musically Fed, which is works with really big bands. I mean, Rolling Stones, bands like Pink and Metallica and Nine Inch Nails. They do food drives at their shows. They organize it, but they were willing to work with us to help us on obviously a way smaller level. But it's nice because they have the resources. They know the food banks in the areas to get food to and stuff. So it was just like, it was kind of like it all just fell together, and it's like, why not do something good if you can, because it's like, it's like I'm asking the venues to be compassionate to us. It's like, well, maybe I'll be an example myself and try to be compassionate to other people I don't know that are worse off than I am. I mean, it's if we all did something, we don't have to do the same thing, but if we all did something nice to try to make the world a little bit better, because we all have to live in this,
all together.
It's kind of a shithole now, a lot of the world, So it's like anything we could do to make it better, if everyone just did a little thing, we'd probably have a little bit better place to live, and it's but whatever. I figured we do our part, and hopefully we inspire other people to do other positive things. And there's not like a corner on doing positive things for other people or charities. It's not just faith-based. You should be able to do it just because it's the right thing to do.
Thing to do.
Not Yeah, it's exactly. It's the right thing to do, not because you're pressured into it or not doing it to prove anything. We just wanted to, want to do the right thing, and it's kind of spiraled into something even better than we ever expected and stuff. And it's nice. I'd rather get in the news for doing a food drive than all this negative stuff that everyone gets in the news for. So let's get in the news for doing something positive, which was nice. I mean, of course, like I said, some people, the news sites took it the wrong way and just used it to their advantage to get clicks or whatever. But that's just part of doing anything. That's why I like doing actual, things like this, where I could actually talk about it and say what's up.
Yeah, nobody's going to take you out of context. I
Yeah,
mean, you
exactly.
get a chance to say what you want. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Because other people, if they just, I mean, some of them were good. Blabbermouth was good. There was a couple other ones that did a reasonable write-up about it. But then there were some out there that I was just reading. I'm like, you got it totally wrong, And it's like they weren't nice enough to contact me and say can you put this into context, or maybe I don't understand what's going on. Can you explain? No one contacted me at all. They just made up, filled in the blanks themselves, just went with it, But that's the way it goes.
like you said, it's all about the clicks these days. Unfortunately, that's what's happening. Besides the food drive, when it comes to that Belfagor tour, how was everything for you? When you look back now and maybe reflect on that tour, was it everything you had hoped for?
I mean, I don't really know. I wouldn't say it's everything I hoped for, because I didn't have high hopes or low hopes for it. I mean, I knew it would be a good tour, and I knew, I was hoping that we would do good, we'll say, and I would say that it went better than expected. Not that I didn't expect it to be good, but the reaction that we had on the tour was really strong. I mean, every night, there was a strong showing of people coming for us at the show, and the vibe was just really good and stuff. We were playing great. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have any complaints with how the shows went. I mean, we had a total blast. It's just nice to see that there's been a lot of the younger generation coming out to the shows, which is really cool. It's like there's almost like a thing in the underground now where the younger generation wants to hear more authentic, bands playing. And because for a while, so many bands were really going the more sterile route, where they're just really, I don't know, it's really rigid. With us, it's like, even though we're tight as a band, we do have a sense of danger to it. And it's like, it could go off the rails here and there. Like, we're going with a vibe. We're not just it's not just putting on, some bands, I think they play a show and it's almost like watching a play. And it's not that it's bad, but it's different. When we're playing, it's like we're vibing off the energy of the crowd. It's a really energetic thing and a very organic feel to the music and stuff. And I think the younger generation now really likes it. There was a generation kind of in between that was really looking for that more rigid, tight kind of stuff, which it's not that we can't do it. We could if we really wanted to, but we've always had that kind of, I want to say, like a punk rock edge to our sound, where it's just it's a rough edge, it's loose, but it's also tight and heavy at the same time. It sounds kind of strange to say it that way, but it's just more like the old school way of playing. We're an old school band. We do it our way,
Yeah. And every time I've seen you guys play in Toronto, the crowd has always been magnificent in terms of the numbers of people coming out to see you guys. You can always tell that because there's less people there before you go on stage. There's a lot of people there when you guys are on stage, and then the crowd kind of dies out a little bit after you guys leave the stage. So obviously there's a huge amount of people coming to see Incantation when you guys play Toronto. Do you guys have specific markets that you see when you're touring, that certain cities are there's more of a fan base than others?
Well, the thing is, and it's with really all tours, a support band really has the best spot of the night, because it's like, it's late enough in the show where everybody's there, and sometimes when a headliner plays, it's like if they're not really, really into the headliner, they might want to go home, especially like on a weekday and something like that. So we really had a great spot on the tour, and no disrespect to Belfagor or whatever, but there was significant people leaving, after we played. I mean, even Helmuth, we talked about it afterwards, but you know, it's the way it goes. I mean, we've done tours too where we've headlined, and you know, some of the crowd leaves afterwards. It's just part of how it goes. One of those things where, of course, you're happy to see that people are here for you, and it's, you know, it's not cool if they leave because, you know, we want them to see all the bands, but at the same time, you're also happy to know that they were obviously there for you, and that shows that, you know, hopefully next time you can come back and do it as a headliner, and you know, we don't have to be a support band. I mean, we've kind of really pushed the support band thing. We've been doing a lot of support tours or co-headlining tours, and we really need to do a proper headlining tour, just more, even just so we could play a little bit longer of a set. And you know, I think right now is the time where people really want to, you know, are really digging us and stuff. You know, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, we're playing the shows, we feel that energy. It's great. You know, but you know, to be fair, a band like Belphegor is just, it's different. They're more kind of black metal, even though they're death black. They're more into black metal. They're more theatrical. So, you know, you're going to get people there that are there for the theatrical show and might not like us, you know, and then, you know, there's people there for us that might not like them because they might, you know, they want the more energetic kind of vibe or whatever, you know.
And now you guys were announced on another tour package, Summer of Slaughter. Not the full package, but you're playing selective dates. You're back in Toronto, actually. You're going to be back there in Toronto.
Yes, awesome.
So I'm going to see you back in Toronto with Hatebreed. How did that opportunity came about?
I mean, it just came up. I mean, I've been friends with Jamie Jostin. I wouldn't say, let's not say, I've been acquaintances with Jamie Jostin. We're not really friends. I mean, we're friendly. I've known him since '94 because we did a tour with it was us supporting Grave in '94, and Hatebreed opened up for the show at this club called the LNG in New London, Connecticut, I think it was. So I've known Jamie for many years, and we've been in contact here and there. And you know, we never, you know, got around to touring with Hatebreed before. But you know, I'd see him, you know, when they would play shows and stuff. We'd hang out a little bit at the shows, and it just, you know, he's a cool dude, and he's always been supportive of the band. I think just the opportunity came up where, you know, they were looking, I guess Devourment couldn't do the full tour and need another band to do it, and I just got word from our booking agent that they wanted us on it, and, you know, we're all like, hell yeah, that'd be great. I mean, it's a great opportunity for us to play for a lot of, you know, different people, and at this point in our career, really with support slots, we really need to play with bands that bring different people, because at this point, most of the death metal crowd, you know, knows us. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe some of the younger generation death metal, like say the bands like Frozen Soul or somebody like that, you know, or Gate Creeper, you know, their fan base, some of them might not know us because they're maybe a little younger, but when it comes to like the, you know, the mid-range to the older death metal crowd, they already know us. So it's like we got to try to, if we're going to support bands, we got to do something a little different. And I know we're going to stick out like a sore thumb, I think, on the show, you know, because it's a lot of different styles and stuff. But I think that's the point of it, is they want something that's going to be different, but also, you know, energetic and real or whatever. And we're really grateful that, you know, Hatebreed and Jamie Josta gave us the opportunity to do it, because I mean it's a good opportunity to do for sure. And we do really good when we do support shows. We usually end up gaining a lot of new fans and stuff, so I can't complain, you know.
Is it a difficult thing to do, to find the balance between obviously keeping the old fan base interested and connected with the band, but at the same time create roots towards a newer generation, so that the band can continue to move forward?
Yeah, I mean it's important for sure. It's not always easy, because I think it's like you have to sometimes do things that are, you know, I would not as comfortable as what you normally do. I mean, we grew up in a different time, so we did things differently, and now there's different ways of getting these younger generation people to know our stuff. Like we've recently tried to make ourselves more visible, like on TikTok and stuff, of all things. I've
You don't come across as the TikTok kind of guy.
No, I'm not really. I mean, I went into it kicking and screaming, you know. But the thing is, though, is that I, you know, I had somebody working with me and explaining how to do it and pushing me to do it, and I've seen results from it. So maybe it's not my favorite thing to do, but when I see results on something and more people are getting into us because we're doing it, it's like, okay, this might not be my favorite thing to do, but it is getting it out to new people out there. So it's like, you know, let's try to, work harder on getting newer generation into it, because a band like us, it's like old generation, you know, they don't always go out as much, you know. There was a time period where we were just getting like our, say, 10 years younger than us people and up, mostly at our shows, and they started dwindling for a while. But then with this newer generation of death metal bands coming out, especially a lot of them that were inspired by us and stuff, kind of gave new life into what we do, and it put more eyes on us, and we've gained so many fans, like over the last, really, what, 5 to 6 years or something. The fan base has just been growing stronger and stronger, playing with, a lot of different, kind of bands and stuff, just trying not to only play with bands to say I personally know or like, but trying to take some chances to play with bands. Like we did a bunch of tours with Decapitated, like 2 of them, and that really helped us out a lot, because, I mean, Decapitated, they're death metal, but they also veer into like a more of a deathcore kind of thing on some of their stuff. So they have a diverse crowd. So when we opened up for them, we gained a lot of new kids that never heard of us, and it was crazy because that tour also had Darkest Hour on there, which was like,
They've been around forever.
Yeah, and they're like more like a
metalcore.
Yeah. So like, we go at our merch table, like I hang out at the merch table a lot at our shows, and I'd see these metalcore kids going and like checking out our stuff and buying our, like, some of these metal kids probably didn't even know what we were or what death metal was, but they heard it and they thought it was cool. And the funny thing about that Decapitated tour was we played our Mortal Throne Nazarene album, which is like the most probably underground, darkest, heaviest album that we have, for probably the most commercial crowd we played for in a while, but it still went over really well, which was great, because I was thinking about before, I'm like, is this like just like, suicide, because we're like, we could, we're not like we have, say, we don't have like really commercial songs, but we have other songs that say are maybe a little more easier for people to digest, but no, instead we just went totally heavy, and it showed me that we could just do it the way we want to do it, regardless of what the crowd is, and some people are going to dig it. Some people probably thought it sucked, but people are going to dig it because they could see the authenticity of it and the fact that we love it. It's true to us,
You brought up 2 bands that I think brings an interesting point, which is you brought up Frozen Soul and Gate Creeper. The success of those younger bands, do you see the success of those younger bands correlate to the longevity of bands who've been around for a very long time, like Incantation, for example?
Yeah, I think it helps, for sure. I mean, it gets people interested. It's like, it's almost like those bands now, those bands are like the gateway bands for a lot of kids, the younger generation, to get into death metal. And like any more, I mean, I don't think those bands are really commercial, but they're kind of, they're almost like the quote-unquote commercial death metal band of our era. They're like those kind of bands, and they get people into the style, and then eventually some of those people, not all of them, but a small segment of them will dig a little deeper into the underground. Some of them are always going to stay in, say, their zone. Some people are going to, veer over to something more underground. It's like, it's not a great example, but it's like when I first got into metal, the first thing I didn't get was, Carcass Reeker Putrefaction wasn't my first album, like I bought heavy metal albums. I bought Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and maybe bands like Rat or Twisted Sister or something. So you need like some kind of gateway. So all these different styles of of metal are important, and some people are going to keep stepping up until they get to the heavier, and some people are going to stay and find their zone and be like, okay, this is where I'm comfortable with. So we get the people at the very end, you know, that want the really raw, you know, brutal, heavy stuff. Yeah, and you know, but it's good. I mean, 'cause there's a lot of really aggressive, heavy death metal younger bands out there that are, you know, doing really well, and that those people are potential Incantation fans, you know.
I got one last question for you because there's a party happening tonight and nobody wants to miss a good party. And I saw during this tour you took some pictures with the guys from Blood Incantation.
Yes.
So how was that conversation? Did you threaten to sue them for kind of ripping you guys off with the name of the band?
No, no. I mean, we'll say when they first came out, I was a little bit like, huh, that's interesting, you know, name or whatever, you know. Of course, I mean, I'm only human, you know. But really, I really never had a big problem with them. It was really funny because there was like an insinuated riff that we had together, you know, like they thought that we didn't like them and we thought they didn't like us. So it just built up over a while, and I think there were like, I don't know if it was like just people, you know, some people were saying that, you know, we didn't like them or something, and I don't know, for some reason, you know, I will just say a bunch of miscommunication or people lying. I can't really say, I wasn't there, but basically it was one day, maybe it was about a year and a half ago, under one of our posts, somebody said something like that insinuated like we hated Blood Incantation, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. I don't even know the guys, you know. It's like, yeah, I don't really listen to them, you know. I mean, I don't have no problem with them, but I don't really listen to them. So I was like, I don't really listen to them, and I don't know them, but people think that we hate them, you know, and the only time I ever really said anything negative is because I thought they didn't like us. So it was kind of like you know, I was kind of annoyed about it. I was like, why these guys don't like us for? Like, I don't even know who they are. Like, and I would see them at shows, and they were kind of like not, because Charlie, our drummer, he knows those guys well. He even played in a band with some of those guys. So I was like, every time they were around, they would kind of avoid me. And I was like, man, that's weird. These guys, like, every time I try to say what's up to them, they, you know, ignore me. So I was kind of, that's weird, you know. But I realized one day, like I said, I seen that message on a post, and I was like, this is just bullshit. Like, if these guys really don't like us, you know, I'm just going to send them a message. I sent the message to, what's the main guy? I can't think of his name now. My brain's fried. Anyway, I sent them a message, and it was just like, dude, you know, what's your beef with us? You know, it's like, I was like, we don't really have any problem with you guys, but it seems like you guys really have some issue with us, and if you do, let's just bring it out in the open and try to sort this out. And he got back to me and said, oh, no, we have no problem with you guys at all. It's like, we love you guys, you know, and they're saying, like, we even named their band after you guys in the band Blood, you know, and then he sent me a picture of, you know, them wearing Incantation shirts or whatever when they were kids, you know, so I'm just like, and I talked to him, I was like, oh, that's cool, you know, and we just had a nice conversation. I said, oh, I'm so happy for you guys, you're doing well as a band, and it's great to see that, and so it all was like totally fine, but it just was so funny because it just, it was miscommunications, you know. It's like, it's true that I don't listen to the band, really. I mean, it's not that I don't, like, I hate them. It's just that I don't listen to a lot of newer death metal in general, not because I don't like it, because my sweet spot is like the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s death metal. That's my go-to. But if, you know, a newer band's playing, I'll listen to it, and it's cool. And most of the newer bands that I do, say, enjoy a little bit are ones that I see live and they're kicking ass or whatever, you know. So I'm like, oh, this band's really good live. But, you know, when I go home and I want to listen to old school death metal, I'm gonna end up listening to like Entombed's Left Hand Path or Obituary, Slowly Rot or something like that, or Morbid Angel, something bands that have a nostalgic connection with, But it's like I don't have anything against any newer death metal. In fact, no, I was just saying that those bands are doing a great thing for the death metal scene. So I'm actually really appreciative of all those bands, and I think it's a great thing that let's just say, when we were doing it, we never thought death metal was going to last more than, I don't know, 5 years. I figured by like 95 or something, it would be like
dead.
Done and next thing, And it did kind of die down or whatever. But then, like, I remember it was like, 2007 or 8 or something like that. Probably 8. Like, death metal started picking up and bands started coming out, sounding closer to us, like Father Be Foul and bands like that. And I was just like, well, this is really crazy. Like, bands are actually, like, influenced by us now, because back in the 90s, there was only a few bands that were really influenced by us. We had Drawn and Quartered, and we had Hybertus Mortis were really influenced by us, sounded closer to us. But then once it got to the late 2000s, we started realizing there's bands that are really like digging deep into our sound and doing stuff with it. And I thought it was super cool. It was a little weird at first, obviously. Like when I heard Father Be Felled at first, I'm like, sounds like I could have wrote that riff, So it was a little weird, but after you got past that, you realize this is really cool that people are like using our music as an inspiration to do something else. And there's so many bands now that have taken this the doom parts that we have, and atmospheric doom, but still keeping it heavy and dark, and they kind of would expand on it in their own way. And there's bands that just like take that style of our stuff and like have their whole band, the whole style based on that, which is cool. There's other bands that use some of our more like faster stuff or more darker stuff. It's just cool to know that, like, we'll say as a songwriter, I'm flattered to have bands have us as an inspiration or an influence or whatever. So of course I look at it as a great thing, and some of the bands, like Blood Incantation, I mean, they got huge, and it's nice to know that we had a part in their history, not just in name, but just in them being fans of our band and maybe taking a little piece of our sound and expanding on it in a way they felt related to them and stuff. And well, I seen some of the guys in Denver, and we were just joking because it was the bass player, the guitar player, and I was the guitar player, vocalist, and Charlie was there. So we're like, we have another incantation right here. We could call it Incantation and Blood. Wait, Blood? Yeah, Incantation, Blood Incantation. So we could, one day we're gonna have to do a project, Incantation, Blood Incantation.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool, to be honest. And maybe you can do cover songs of both bands.
Yes.
We
could do interpretations of each other's songs.
Each other's songs, exactly. I think that would be super cool. Guys, if you want to find out more about what John is up to with Incantation, check out the description of this video. I'm going to have the tour dates there that he's going to be doing Summer of Slaughter with Hatebreed. And if you're attending Inferno, if you attend Inferno, I really hope you checked out their set and all the other stuff that they're involved with. They're going to be doing a bunch of stuff during this week here at Oslo. John, thank you very much for your time today. This was a pleasure.
I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. Yes.